Hey guys, Clay here at Havoc Off-Road. This is Crawler Conceptz rear steel fenders for your Jeep JK. I'm going to show you how to get these installed. Let's get started. Now I've gone ahead and put some blue tape on our body line here. This will help protect our paint as we're test fitting the bumper. You do need to take it on and off, or actually you do need to install it and then take it off a few times for proper fitment. If your Jeep is already scratched up, that's cool. That means you guys wheel it. You can skip this part of it. If it's new or your paint is in good shape back here, I highly suggest you do this. Now the Crawler Conceptz rear flare uses 3 factory holes that we're just going to drill out to 17/32 in the rear of the fender, and then 3 factory holes in the front. So before I mark those, I'm going to go ahead and hold the fender up there and just get a visual and make sure that I'm marking the correct holes to drill out. So now that I can see those, our Jeep's black, so I'm using a silver Sharpie, and I'm just going to go around those so that it's easy for me to identify as I'm drilling all this stuff out. Now we're going to go ahead and drill this out to 17/32. Since we have a perfect pilot hole from the factory, there's no need to drill a pilot hole with a smaller bit, but make sure you've got a good drill bit. You don't want to hog these holes out, have burrs everywhere, or press on it with a drill bit that's not sharp and distort the sheet metal. This sheet metal is thin enough as it is. We want to try to keep everything intact and in form, so when we bolt everything together, it's as strong as it could possibly be. Now another tip, as you start to get all the way through the sheet metal, back off a little bit or prepare to stop. The drill bit is going to want to catch the sheet metal and pull the drill bit in, and that way you can just reverse the bit, clean that up, and you don't pull the sheet metal out of shape. Now the vendor includes this tool, and it'll most likely work on the rear fender flares because the sheet metal is pretty flat. It's a simple idea. This centerpiece will spin on this bolt, and what happens is the nutsert actually crushes behind this and behind the sheet metal, and that's what keeps the nutsert from spinning and gives you your threads into the sheet metal. I don't really like using these, and I'll tell you why. The difficult part is you really need to use an impact to get that to crush nicely. And if you over crush the nutsert, it starts to distort where the threads align to this outside flange. So as you crush it, it'll move around in there, and as that stuff gets misaligned, it has poor fitment, especially in something that's got countersunk holes. Now like I said, this fender flare does not have countersunk holes. You could re-drill the fender flare out a little bit and you could make it work. Now I highly recommend this tool. This tool ranges anywhere online from maybe 40 to 50 bucks, and if you're going to be putting sheet metal parts on your Jeep, this thing is priceless. It lets you adjust everything. You can see how it works. You thread the nutsert on there, you push the nutsert in, and as we clamp it, you get nice even compression, and you can adjust on how much you actually compress the nutsert into the sheet metal. Now I've put a little bit of blue RTV on these nutserts. That's just common practice for me. You can use silicone. You could paint the inside of this. But while I'm installing this, the RTV is going to help protect that raw steel from rusting, and it's also going to create a little bit of a bond in there. See, and you can feel the nutsert start to crimp and get bottomed out on the tool. So now I'm going to loosen the tool up and thread it out just a little bit. Then I also wiggle this around, make sure that the nutsert is pressed in where it needs to be, but not over pressed, and then that way you get a nice centered hole. So now you can see with our nutserts, everything's nice and clean. I've got a buddy helping me. We're going to go ahead and hold this up. We're going to install this on the Nutserts from the factory holes, and that'll help us locate the holes that we need to drill out. All right, you can see I've got the Nutserts in, the factory holes that we just drilled. I'm going to tighten those up. And I also want you to look at the detail. This piece fits perfectly to the arc of the factory sheet metal. That takes a lot of time and engineering on Crawler Concepts parts. Now you can see that there's a hole here that we need to drill and 2 more here. So I'm going to go ahead and snug these bolts up. I'm not going to tighten them all the way down. I'm just going to get the fender in place where I'm going to have it. And then I'll mark those holes with a silver Sharpie. Now the kit comes with 2 of these braces. We've just rattle canned these black. This brace fits right in here. So it's easy to drill these holes on the outside. The inside ones are a little bit tricky, and I'll show you how we're going to accomplish that. You can also see from the factory here, we've got this awesome, super heavy duty tape. So what this tape is holding back is nothing but great stuff, essentially, or body foam. So we're going to peel this back. No tools required. And then when we drill the hole on the bottom, it'll be through the pinch weld and you can get to the locking nut on it. But when we drill this upper hole for the bracket, you're going to actually need to stick your finger or a wrench in there, and we'll peel back this foam a little bit. We'll get the locking nut on, install everything. If you want to do this the least expensive way as possible, but still have a quality job, you can get undercoating from any local hardware store or auto parts store. It's black, just spray it back over this foam and you'll never notice it. We have access to a rhino lining machine. So once all this stuff's on, we're gonna take it in the shop and we're gonna get these inner fender wells rhino lined, and that'll cover that up then. All right, well that's it. We just need to drill these 3 holes. We're gonna put a Nutsert in there. We're just gonna drill these holes through so that we can put a bolt and a locking nut on that bracket. Now I'm using a step drill bit. This hole is not from the factory, so you are gonna need to drill a pilot hole. This bit self-centers pretty good. You're gonna need to drill this out to 17-30 seconds as well, just like the other Nutserts. All right, now these holes you're gonna drill out to 1/4 inch. Go back with our 17-30 seconds drill bit. Now, you don't have to do this, and you can use whatever color you want, but I recommend you use some kind of silicone in between any armor that goes on your Jeep and sheet metal. This keeps out debris, water, helps with vibration, anything that's going to let sand and grit or salt from the roads get in between these 2 panels and create rust issues further down the road. Go ahead and get yours in first. All right, so we got everything loosely fitted. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up all the bolts that actually hold the fender to the body panel, and then we'll go back and we'll tighten up this bracket. Now on this last bolt that's inside here, the foam, I'm just gonna stick a wrench up in there And you kind of just got to take it one turn at a time until you get it all the way tightened down. There you go, guys. It's a really easy install for what you get. I don't think you can get a better fender on the market that fits this well other than the Crawler Conceptz, and it is all steel, so it's going to offer maximum protection. If you guys have any questions, give us a call or visit us at havocoffroad.com. Thanks.